How's it going, guys? So today we're going to be running through Black Rook Hold on Heroic Mode. This dungeon has 4 bosses. In this video I'm a level 110 Fury Warrior with an item level of 815. The first boss is Amalgam of Souls. This is one of the coolest looking bosses I've seen so far in the Legion dungeons. In Heroic Mode there are 2 phases. In Phase 1, Reap of Souls attacks everyone in front of the boss with shadow damage and increases damage taken by 20%, so stay behind the boss. Swirling Scythe puts a spinning scythe on the ground that does physical damage, as well as a knockback to any player that touches it. Soul Echoes fragments a player's soul on the ground that causes damage to anyone that gets near them. The second phase starts at 50%. In this phase, the boss stays in place while adds start to move towards the boss, which need to be killed. If one reaches the boss, it'll cause Soul Burst, which damages the whole group and releases more powerful adds. Every additional add will cause a Soul Burst that does 50% more damage than the last. The second boss is Ilisana Ravencrest, which is also a 2-phase fight. In the first phase, she uses Vengeful Shear, which hits for a lot of physical damage and increases damage taken by 15% for 25 seconds if active mitigation isn't used. The effect stacks, so be sure to stay on top of the active mitigation. Dark Rush has the boss fixate on a player and charge at them. It also leaves a trail of fire in her path. Lastly, Brutal Glaive does ticking damage to the target every 2 seconds for 30 seconds, and bounces to nearby players. In Phase 2, she casts Eyebeam, which follows around a player and leaves Fellfire on the ground behind them. Bone Crushing Strike is a cone attack that does physical damage and a 4-second stun, so stay behind her. Lastly, Arcane Blitz does arcane damage and increases the boss's spell damage by 50% for 10 seconds. The third boss is Smashbite the Hateful. Earthshaking Stomp does physical damage and is also a knockback. The next main concern is Hateful Gaze. He charges at a player and does a large amount of physical damage to the player and a knockback. The attack can be intercepted by standing between the boss and the target of the charge, as he hits the first person that he comes in contact with. Be careful though, because the attack also causes a debuff that increases damage taken by the attack by 100% for a minute. So if you're hit by the attack for a second time, it may kill you. You also see under his health bar there's a meter tracking his brutality. Once that reaches 100, he will do an attack called Brutal Haymaker, which causes a lot of physical damage to his current target and increases their damage taken by 25% for 10 seconds, so healers will want to watch that bar and save a cooldown for it. The final boss is Lord Cratalis Ravencrest, which is a 2-phase fight. In Phase 1, Unyielding Shear hits the tank for physical damage as well as ticking damage. Whirling Blade puts a glaive out that will move back and forth, causing damage and a knockback to anyone who touches it. His advisor Latosius will be casting shadow damage around the room throughout this phase as well. Once Ravencrest reaches 20%, he becomes a friendly as he is no longer corrupted and casts a spell that increases your party's damage, healing, and health by 300%. Then Latosius transforms into the actual boss of the fight. He summons a swarm of insects that deal damage as well as a stun. He also creates a cloud of hypnotic gas on the ground that puts players to sleep if they step in it. Casters will finally spawn in a circle and cast shadow damage on the ground that causes a knockback and a very large amount of shadow damage. I hope you enjoyed this guide to Black Rook Hold on Heroic Mode. Please check out my other videos on Legion dungeons and raids as they become available. Thanks for watching.